Indonesia is scattered over an area of 13,000 islands midway between continental Asia and Australia. Bali lies within this endless chain. Unlike most islands in the world, Bali does not owe everything to the sea. It is partly dependent on the volcanoes that enrich its soil. Volcanoes are worshipped and feared because they represent a permanent menace. All the great religions thrive harmoniously in Bali. Few civilizations have succeeded in reaching this state of utopia. The gods and places of worship coexist. The faithful participate in an infinite variety of holy events from 3 different calendars. The Balinese have a natural grace preserved through centuries. It is proof of their innate sense of beauty, unchanged by evil spirits or mythical monsters. The word art does not exist in their language, since creative expression is assumed to be natural. No element, not even the most austere, escapes the creative genius of the people. The Balinese have time to devote to their art since the land is bountiful without making any high demands. The many cultures are laid out in a colorful mosaic, each of them contributing in part to the talent of the island. Bali existed in seclusion for a long time due to the hot, humid climate. Today, 1 million tourists pass through in this country of 3 million inhabitants every year. Out of all visitors to Indonesia, 85% choose Bali and only Bali. The Balinese who once turned their back on the sea can see it now through different eyes. This newfound interest for the sea is perfectly illustrated in the southern tip of the island, where the Bukit Peninsula extends as a perfect stepping stone into the ocean. Nearby, Kuta Beach stretches out in a long, inviting curve, confident of success. An American introduced surfing to the island in the 1930s. Kuta is an ideal spot for beginners. It is the only place on the island where the waves don't break on coral reefs, but on sandy beach. Contact with the locals provides much of Kuta's charm, and the Balinese don't lack in resources to attract their visiting clientele. Commerce comes as second nature. The beach went through a transformation with the arrival of the first hippies during the 60s. This generation of wandering youth formed a mystical connection between Kabul, Kathmandu, and Kuta. Word of mouth did the rest, and an international human wave followed them here. A little bit of everything was built just about anywhere during the craze. The 2 villages neighboring Kuta were overrun, and one has to travel several kilometers to escape the overpowering urbanization. Night falls earlier in the equatorial zone, but Kuta doesn't sleep. The relative freshness entices people back to the streets, where the dropping evening temperature quickly heats up. There are no surfers here because there are no waves. Sanu is at the same level as Kuta, but on the east coast, so the sea is calm. The Bali Hotel, which was built as compensation from the Japanese after the war, infringes on the law that doesn't allow any building to be higher than the coconut palms. The coral reef prevents the water from rising even at high tide. The fishermen are able to go over it on special outriggers. The sails reveal another area of Balinese talent. The local textile industry, from the most humble to the most sophisticated, is realized with the same care. More than a space for leisure activities, this sea offers the Balinese a generous means of support. Unfortunately, it has been used improperly on occasion. In Benua Port, to the south of the island, breeding has begun to repair the damage done by hunting the threatened marine tortoises. Awareness campaigns have not yet succeeded because the tortoise is a traditional dish for holidays. The banyan tree symbolizes national unity. It is a protector tree. Numerous temples like this Buddhist pagoda have one nearby. Elevation of the soul inspires the Balinese whose beliefs follow many roads. Bali is the country with the highest Muslim population in the world. Even so, Garuda, the sacred Hindu bird, protects the sky. The Balinese greatly rely on the resources of the ocean, but without compromising the natural balance. They cultivate algae as a crop. Once dried on the bank, it loses 99% of its weight. The algae is sorted by hand, then packaged and sent to the Asian continent and Europe. It serves as a thickening agent in the food and cosmetic industries. Hotel complexes have struggled to appear unnoticed at the heart of this incomparable natural and cultural heritage that is often defenseless in the presence of man. The Nusa Dua resort managed, thanks to advice from tourism experts in the World Bank. This complex, the most elegant in Bali, was conceived to be totally self-sufficient and so reduce most of the impact on the environment. Vegetation is thin on the limestone earth of the Bukit Peninsula. Only the dried and brushed palm tree fibers are used to make the thatched roofs of these sanctuaries. At the extreme south of the peninsula, a 200-meter limestone wall holds back the Indian Ocean. In spite of the violent undercurrents and coral reefs, which are only visible at low tide, the location has become a surfing mecca frequented only by the elite. Indeed, the waves are the strongest in Asia, and the best surfers of the world, especially the Australians, come to tackle one of the most dangerous spots on the planet. A reception is organized by a family of monkeys at the top of the cliff. They are the relaxed guards of the Uluwatu temple, dedicated almost a millennium ago to the divinities of the sea. In the 16th century, an Indian high priest ended his cycle of reincarnations here, and in keeping with his beliefs, he evaporated. The sound is misleading. We think we hear the shouts from a band of monkeys. The shouts come from a group of men, often from the same village. Their two-syllable chant accompanies a dance called the Kecak. The singers imitate an army of monkeys that intervene in an episode of Ramayana, a complex 1,000-year-old tale richly revived and sacred for the Hindu. Prince Rama leaves to go hunting despite warnings from the wise men. His wife, Princess Sita, is kidnapped by a devil during his absence. But Hanuman, the white ape god, enters the scene. Hanuman triumphs over the forces of evil after a relentless fight and with the help of the monkey army. If the Balinese are known for skillful gestures, this one takes another direction in the life of Denpasar, the capital, clogged by a ceaseless stream of vehicles. The divinity of four directions needs all his arms to organize the traffic. Bali is a former Dutch colony. In 1906, the struggle against the colonists ended in a bloody episode of collective suicide of 4,000 warriors. Denpasar has always had commercial counter. Its name signifies beside the market. Many of the merchants are Chinese. They are more or less integrated, as is often the case in Southeast Asia. In an attempt to repair the historical damage, the Dutch set up the Museum of Bali at the beginning of the century. The museum replicates the architecture and the decor of palaces and Balinese temples. In spite of the War of Independence and the systematic plunder over 4 centuries of occupation, the Bali Museum managed to catalog the inventory of the island's artistic creations. The Center of Art is one of the highlights of Balinese cultural life. In Bali, caution is not the mother of wisdom, and the flow of ideas is easier than that of the motor cars. A huge number of them are moreover sacrificed on the altar of speed. The face of the island changes towards the middle of the country. The towns are fewer, and the land is taken over by rice farming that has been in the region for 4,500 years. At the end of 1960, a new breed of rice was developed. It gives 3 harvests a year. The grains of this new rice easily fall off the stalks, so it can be sifted right on the field. The Balinese have their eye on everything. Tasks are distributed according to sex and are extremely specific. Only women carry their burden on their head. The rule applies to ceremonies like the Odalan that marks the anniversary of a temple. Women are not a part of the musical group. They load a variety of offerings on their heads and follow the procession. The men always carry their load on their shoulders. Work in the fields and selling cattle are the responsibility of the men with the exception of the harvest. Generally, the men leave the daily tasks to the women while they work building the traditional wooden houses. The women prepare for their specific duties from early age. The dance offers them a unique opportunity to interpret several roles and express feelings opposite to their condition by the meticulous game of the glances, the wrists, and the fingers. In Batu Bulan, the famous temples and animated sculptures are used as luxurious decor for the barong, a dance of good and evil. Good, or barong, is represented by a long-haired creature that is half dog, half lion. The god monkey Hanuman helps barong to win. With poisonous nails, evil takes the form of the menacing witch Rangda. Barong and Rangda are in a confrontation by making use of their magic powers. And when the good are in trouble, their devotees come to the rescue armed with the kris, their famous dagger with the wavy blade. But evil resists. He puts his aggressors in trance and urges them to turn their weapon against themselves. A large number of artisans give all the region of Batu Bulan its reputation. They work with a variety of materials and themes with surprising dexterity. The light wooden sculptures imitate flowers or fruits to perfection. Children get to add the finishing touch. This Balinese craft is distributed internationally. The village of Mas specializes in hardwood sculptures. According to tradition, wood sculpture was a privilege of Indian high priests, and the inspiration was exclusively religious. Today, artisans of all social classes sculpt wood. Stone sculpture is done using soft, light volcanic rock. It is easily carved, which allows for intricate design work. However, the porous stone is very fragile to work.